Quantum Riddler. We've seen the card now popping up in Beanstalk and Legacy as well.
It triggers Beanstalk if you warp it. That's the big advantage as well.
We had a short little question for the folks who are watching us. Write it down in the comments. If you play a dress down and then you warp Quantum Riddler, does it get exiled at the end of your turn? Drop it down in the comments below and let us know what you think.
Because we are pretty much uncertain.
We are so uncertain.
Because it should work like Evoke, but we are not sure if it's work like...
Should I resolve it?
Welcome to In Response, a Legacy podcast. Whether you're a dedicated player or just curious about Legacy, join us as we share ideas, discuss decks, and have some fun along the way.
And there's this old saying, what is dead may never die, that we learned in Game of Thrones, Daniel.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Series finales are shit, am I right?
Yeah, that's the results. But you can watch the first 6 seasons. I mean, that's fine. We are basically in the same situation right now because UB Reanimator is all over the place. So
yeah.
But we had the Legacy Showcase last weekend, and it surprisingly wasn't won by Oops or by Blue-Black Reanimator, although it has put a lot of numbers in the top 8. So, Peter, tell us, what was the big surprise?
Yeah, actually the deck that was announced in the recent ban and restricted announcement that they got rid of it by banning Microspawn, but a new card from Modern Horizons 3 basically put the deck on top, and it's Eldrazi Linebreaker, and we have Mono-Red Eldrazi now winning the Legacy Showcase Challenge.
Yeah, I think when you look at this deck list, when I look at the meta, kind of how it develops, it makes sense that this kind of deck comes into the picture again a little bit. Just because, all the lights are on Reanimator and people want to beat Reanimator with main deck graveyard hate, and Eldrazi doesn't care about the graveyard. And it's a proactive deck that also has Chalice, I think, and is kind of this old Eldrazi Stompy deck that used to be playing around when during Eldrazi Winter, we can maybe call it, but it was always in parallel to the Mono-Red Stompy, was also Eldrazi Stompy. And yeah, right now, it's coming back a little bit. Now it won the showcase because people were not prepared, and it's a proactive, nice deck.
Yeah, especially with Eldrazi Linebreaker, you have such a fast clock to clear out any games. And we also have seen also pretty new printing in Sire of Insanity, once in the main, twice in the sideboard. It's the new 7-drop with like 7 different keywords, Ward 7. It's a 7/7. So 7 all over the place. It's a nice finishing touch for the deck to have some of the bigger beaters, because especially it's also Plowshare's deck usually gets pretty low on life, and then you drop in your big 7-drop, and they can't really clear it with the Swords of Plowshares because you don't have 7 life remaining.
Yeah, okay, I see. Do you think that this is bad? So that was just a one-hit wonder for Eldrazi, or do you think this deck is here to stay, or will it develop the meta a little bit further?
Yeah, to a certain extent, I think it will probably be picked up now. And I'm heading now, basically, at the time of this recording, into my ELM preparations. I somehow expect it as well in the ELM, but we'll see if that happens, actually. I'm not sure if this is something that it would not be like it was before with Microspawn. How was the 4-drop?
Yeah, Sowing Microspawn.
Sowing Microspawn, exactly. When this was being played, of course, Eldrazi was like top 2 or 3 of the meta game. It's not really, I think, for this now. It's just now, people try to pick a strategy that naturally dodges all the hate that's running around. And Eldrazi is also something that I think somehow combines in terms of dodging the graveyard, and also to a good and fair extent artifact hate, because a lot of eyes are on as I said, Reanimator mostly, that's clear, And the next one is the rise of Mystic Forge strategies, which heavily rely on artifacts that you need to tap and activate. And Eldrazi's are just big creatures. Yeah, mostly. It has some artifacts, but still, I think for that reason, I think it's right now very good. I'm not sure if it will be here to stay.
Yeah, it's for sure really depends on how the meta shakes up. But currently, as I said, with such a big focus on having proactive access to remove your opponent's graveyard, like for example, I think blue-black tempo is on 2 Nile spell bombs in the
even 3 copies.
Even 3 hours now. Those 3 are pretty much dead cards versus Eldrazi. And you need a lot of removal, and Eldrazi naturally are pretty good nowadays to dodging some and playing through like the 4 copies of Maytag Fatal Push or so Sploushers that we sometimes see. So it's like pretty good in getting like your head through the wall.
What's very nice is that this deck also supports a very logical Decaustic command, which is a main deck nice answer against Reanimator as well. It plays against that deck also quite well, I would say. And I'm also not sure. I don't think that cards like Blood Moon and Harbinger are so strong against this deck. I don't think they shut them down completely. They have Grim Monolith as well to ramp out creatures, for example.
Yeah, and when you stick your first Claim Fresh Raker, usually it doesn't really matter what comes afterwards because you get the Scions, or the spawns, in this case, Scions are the old creatures. You get the spawns to produce your colorless mana source. So basically it's the first color source that you hit, that you get your Flash Raker out, and then you're pretty much good to go. You have your own colorless producing mana engine now.
Yeah. So with that, the next question arises, would it be wise for people to level this meta game? So if Eldrazi is probably great in a Reanimator infested meta game, the next level would be play something that's good against Eldrazi. What do you think would be the choice here?
I would maybe respect it. I would not expect to play against it in every round. More, I don't know. I could see it being that I face it in a tournament once or twice, maybe. And for that reason, I like to pick some dedicated hate that is good against the deck, but has also, as much as possible, overlap against the rest of the field. I'm looking, for example, at cards like Consigned to Memory, which is historically was very good against Eldrazi. I think it's also now very good. It has nice overlap against Mystic Forge and also naturally against fastest Oracle-based combo decks. And I like to have my 2 copies, for example, which I would like to have. I think I'm speaking of the tempo perspective because this is what I would play. Combined with Wastelands, what I would have, or I think a Harbinger is fine. It's not let's say a crushing, let's say lockdown piece, but I would take my chance and combine these all little effects and then try to win before my opponent gets to overpower me with Eldrazi creatures. Yeah, this is how I would approach this matchup, but I haven't played it too much because it just popped up basically. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe there will be more chance to play against this.
Yeah, it's basically a new kid on a block. You have to, as you said, I mean, kind of expect it to face it maybe once or even twice in the tournament, maybe. But as we've seen with the rest of the top 8, as you mentioned, there's a big portion, 50% of the top 8, still in blue-black Reanimated. It's still the deck to beat. And you can't really afford to put onto the break against this matchup. So therefore, you don't really have the space to really change much in regards to facing Eldrazi. Maybe, as I said, like maybe put in a second or a third Consigned to Memory, maybe if you see like an Uprise in combination with Fastest Oracle combo decks, as we see also have Dredge winning another challenge, a 32-player challenge. It's very the hands of actually, I think, in the hands of Mahfouz. Yeah, it's insane. Dredge is back. Yeah,
because we have all this graveyard hate. I mean, fair enough. However, the graveyard hate is very much on single target based things, but a lot of spell bombs also and Soulguide Lanterns. Cosmetics Commands is not so super effective against trash, but all the other ones, I mean, people really, respect the graveyards because of Reanimator. And yeah, I was surprised to see Dredge at the top.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know the list on the top of my head, but there are some sideboard cards that are specifically against cards like Bojuka Ball, cards like Nihil Spellbomb. People are opting a little bit more for Leyline of Sanctity to crush these matchups, because if you can't exile the graveyard because you can't be targeted, especially from Blue-Black Reanimator, from Blue-Black Tempo with the spell bombs, the matchup becomes very, very favored.
Yeah. But in this case, he actually opted away from Leyline of Sanctity, played a more natural anti-combo sideboard himself with like a Leyline of the Wards and some other stuff. But yeah, really insane that he competed through it. But to come back to the show, having to the showcase, having facing Eldrazi, you don't really expect it too much, and you're just playing like a singular sideboard card more with me.
I have to really, for me, this really clearly shows in a very premier event like this showcase, still half of the top 8 is Blue-Black Reanimator. This deck is for sure very, very good. Constantly for the last weeks, people, playing 3-4 copies main deck of Graveyard Hate. Still, the deck monitors so well, where with getting people to play against your combo while we are just ignoring it to a certain extent and going for a very solid plan B. I played a lot now with my tempo deck with my Tamios, and usually Blue-Black Reanimator also has 4 copies of Tamios now in the main deck. And I'm really convinced that if you play a deck that wants to play Tamio, any less than 4 copies is a mistake, I think.
Probably.
Yeah. It's turn 1 Tamio is so strong, even though you don't necessarily feel it right away, but backed with Days, Wasteland, and the Brainstorm, I won so many games just when I had this start. Turn 1 Tamio and then turn 2 Brainstorm, flip it. Even if it get removed, I have my clue. I maybe recovered one spell from the graveyard by this point. So much value in a short period of time. It is unbelievable. And you can win on turn 4, basically, with Tamio.
Yeah, I mean,
super, super fast.
I mean, that's one of the reasons Tamio was already included in the last Ban Talk.
Yeah, exactly. This is, if you don't touch Entomb, then I would touch Tamio for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
But I guess this is not what we are.
No. No, we are talking about the Showcase Challenge. And on the runner-up, we had Sneak and Show again.
Yeah, Sneak and Show in 3rd place. It's
third. So sorry, I misread. 3rd place. 2nd place was Reanimator.
Yeah. But yeah, Sneak and Show is back. It's a really, really nice combination, I think, that recently occurred, because previously there were like 2 pretty much distinct Sneak and Show or show and tell builds. There was mostly the Omni Show build that was straight Simic, so blue and green. And then there was the classic Sneak and Show in red and blue. Now we have a ruck build. We are pretty much playing blue-red Sneak and Show, but we are splashing in the main deck already for Whale of Summons to the sheer existence, basically, of the blue-black decks. Both Tempo and Reanimator in the main deck. We also have like one of the uncounterable lands, the new ones in the main and one in the sideboard.
Yes, Christ Village.
It's pretty nice to see, because it's also like putting the respect up there against all the forces that we currently have in the format.
Yeah.
But it's really, really nice to see going back again to blue-red Sneak and Show, because it's such a better deck in the regards, because you have like more copies of your A and B cards with I think 3 sneak attack and 4 show and tell in the list. In regards previously where you only had your 4 show and tells. But it's really nice to see the deck perform, and
Yeah, what I personally like about this deck is, first of all, you mentioned it, Will of Summer, the very nice innovation. I think JPA, basically the premium player, went for that version now because of the blue-black decks, to dodge Thoughtseize and counter spells also. And I think with the change in meta a little bit, we have a little bit more lands coming up. We have a little bit more Mystic Forge. We briefly talked about this. And all these kind of decks don't really want to play against Sneak and Show.
That's true.
Sneak and Show doesn't care about the graveyard either. So it's a nice proactive deck that needs to cover the blue-black matchup, which I think is tough if you don't have Veil of Summers. And I'm not sure if it's now favored, but it's a nice tool against this deck. And if you can manage this matchup, I think you overall are okay against the rest of the field at the moment. And it's a nice choice, actually.
Yeah, it totally feels like the meta is a little bit weak against Emrakul.
Yeah. There's not too much Caracas.
Yeah, or exile-based removal, basically. There isn't a lot that doesn't target it or isn't a spell.
Yeah.
And even Swords of Blows is on a really big downswing. There are a lot of decks which are playing swords.
Yeah, it's mostly the Jessica Wizards decks that are playing currently swords.
Yeah, Texas.
And Death in Texas.
Yeah.
There is mostly Solitude, the card that is really impactful against sneak attack or show and tell, because you are then able to exile Emrakul. But yeah, White currently a little bit on a downswing.
Then we go a little bit downwards. On 6th place, we have Peter's Love Child, Kata. But it's blue-red Kata, so...
Blue-red Kata, yeah.
Blue-red Kata. Yeah, it's the premier tempo deck other than the blue-black tempo currently in the format. If you remember correctly, it's on 4 Kata, 4 Mishra's Ball, because it's just an auto-include to get the token out on turn 2. Other than that, you have, I think, 4 Tamio, 2
No,
Murktide.
for time it's like 1 or 2 maximum, or not.
Or then it's maybe 2 Murktides, 2 Tamios in there. But yeah, deck is pretty much great. It's really, really fast. Can get out of hand pretty quickly. And yeah, you have the Price of Progress in the sideboard, which I feel currently really good position.
Yeah, they help in decks that, for example, blue-black tempo struggles a lot with, for example, lands. You have the necessary reach that you need. You are faster and you can push with Price of Progress. And Kata at the moment has the advantage that, for example, blue-black Reanimator doesn't really opt to play Orcish Bowmasters. And this is a card that blue-red is not super happy to face. They struggle a little bit against it. And yeah, Barrow is also an issue. Yeah, which still remains. And but if we can manage to dodge that somehow, then blue-red, Kata is also a good and solid choice. No surprise that we see that in the top 8, I would say.
And then on 7th place, we've got Moon Stompy, which now incorporates also Blood Moon and Urza's Saga, which was combo for a long time, but with the recent quote-unquote rules change to the Saga abilities, it's now playable in the same deck.
I was surprised to see that really happening, because I was not sure if the red mana was okay when you still have Urza's Saga, because you want all the soul lands as well. Yeah, apparently it's okay.
Yeah, it was pretty shit back then. It's pretty shit as here.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the mana base correctly. Maybe they're even opting down to 4 soul lands. But
I don't think so.
But because like the red count is really, really horrible in the deck.
Yeah. I think on 1 or 2 less red sources in total, I think, overall.
Yeah, because if you're playing like 12 colorless sources, you have then the 6
The MDFCs,
MDFCs,
Chromoxes you have.
maybe you're playing then 3, 4, or 5 mountains, which
And 4 was previously the normal kind of. I think those are now down to 2. I'm not sure.
Ooh,
2 to 3.
really greedy, greedy.
it's really great.
I'm not sure. I'm not super sure, but
But it's cool to see to have like Urza Saga and Blood Moon being like really big arch enemy. Previously to getting together a few sets later and being best friends. But Decklist is pretty much standard. With Fables, your 6 Blood Moons, with Broadside Bombardiers. But now you also have to include a small Urza Saga package now. So we have Lava Spore Boots now in the main deck of Mono-Red Stompy, for example, and the Soul Guard Lantern. To have, I mean, it's the premier tool to get with Urza Saga against Graveyard, but also nice to see in such a Graveyard metagame to have Mono-Red Stompy on, even though it's a singular main deck Graveyard hard piece.
Awesome. So that was a Legacy Showcase challenge that we had on last weekend. So very, surprising decks on top, besides Blueback Reanimator. Yeah. What do you think overall about the meta, the meta shift, if I say it like that? Do we really see a shift now, or is this just a hiccup?
I think it's for sure kind of a shift, a small shift. It's personally what I like about Legacy when I think of it as 15 years ago. This is the kind of small little shifts that I would expect based on what's happening, and people are starting to adapt to Blueback Reanimator. It, for the time being, it still remains to be too strong because there is no real effect. You still have it at the top.
Yeah,
but you see here and there a little bit of other decks that are at the top tables, so kind of Blueback Reanimator somehow unaffected. They kind of battle it up between themselves in all the mirrors that they have to face. But Mono-Red Stompy a little bit of a buff because of the rules change, and Mystic Forge maybe is big. That kind of is now in the picture. Not only, I guess, because of the meta, well, let's say, deck building decisions, also because of the new card that is being printed.
Yeah. What's the new card, Peter?
Yeah, it's Tesseract Cruel Captain, if I remember correctly. It's a new Planeswalker. It costs 3 mana. It, with your 0 ability, it basically untaps one artifact you control, and you put a +1/+1 counter in it, and it's a creature. If it was not, which is
no, it doesn't turn it to a creature, but you can
you only put a +1/+1 counter
if it's a creature that you untap.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you untap
a permanent or
artifact.
Yeah,
and if it's a creature, +1/+1.
Yeah, and then you have a -3 effect. No, you have a -1 effect as well. -3 where you can 2-tap a 1 cost or a 0 cost. Basically, usually a key or something else that you kind of want to accelerate your deck with.
Untap a little bit more.
Exactly. And with your -7, I think you
at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you can distribute, or you can put 3 +1 counter on an artifact, and it becomes a creature.
Oh, okay.
Like a 0/0 creature in addition.
And you gain actually your loyalty counters whenever an artifact enters the battlefield.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's no real plus ability on the Tesseract. But it's a really good card. Not only shines in this deck, but also in Vintage over there.
Yeah.
It's the artifact. Mana base is basically there. But it's really cool to see. And as I said, those are the small shifts that we were pretty used to in Legacy. And currently, as we had in our pre-talk, it feels a little bit stale because we are just getting used to the sheer speed of format evolvement nowadays.
So we should actually appreciate the small changes.
Yeah. It's back in the old days. But it's like pretty small shifts that are basically resulting out of the printing of new cards, as we have with Tesseract now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there is also a secondary artist card in the new set. If we quickly talk about it, is like Quantum Riddler. It's not as the Riddler in the Riddler deck. It's a cool new card that sees mostly play currently in Modern in Esper Blink. If you know the deck, it's basically a Thalia deck where you just blink your cards and gain a lot of advantage. But we've seen the card now popping up in Beanstalk and Legacy as well.
People try it, yeah, for sure. It's a nice one. It draws you an extra card and can draw an additional card if you have, when you draw the card, only 1 or 0 cards in hand.
So you can draw more cards with Beanstalk.
Yeah. It triggers Beanstalk if you warp it. That's the big advantage as well.
Yeah. And it's good to see maybe getting Beanstalk a small revival. And
and warping, just for the listeners, works like that. Is basically just a dash kind of, but without the haste. And you exile it instead of bouncing it at the end of turn. And that's about it, basically.
And you can cast it at a later turn, which is usually quite important.
Yeah,
because you don't really lose the card for the whole game.
Mana, I think, now, right?
No, for 5. It's a 5 cost.
It's a 5 mana, okay.
We had a short little question for the folks who are watching us. Write it down in the comments. If you play a dress down and then you warp Quantum Riddler, does it get exiled at the end of your turn? Drop it down in the comments below and let us know what you think.
Because we are pretty much uncertain.
We are so uncertain.
Because it should work like Evoke, but we are not sure if it's work like...
Should I resolve it?
No. Don't resolve it. Let the comments resolve it.
Okay. Because I know the answer.
So that's for Edge of Eternities. These 2 cards are basically the big addition to
like the Star Map.
Yeah, you are a big fan of Concept the Star Map. I mean, you can talk briefly about this before we totally dismiss it.
You have 10 seconds.
Go.
I really, really like the card in Jessica control setting where you can play it end of turn without the fairy. This is pretty much everything. Stock Up is the better card, but I could see having it as a 1 or 2 of, because it's so nice to having access to a hard cost Force of Will and end of turn.
Maybe you can
this one
briefly explain what the card actually is.
The card is a 2-drop. It's an instant. You look at the top X cards of your library. X is the number of lands you control, and then you can pick one of those cards, put it into the end, and I think the rest on the bottom of your library. And you can kick it for another, basically generic in the blue. So 2 blue, 2 generic. And you can look at the top X cards, but you can now pick 2 cards out of them.
Yeah.
So it's worse stock up because you have to pay 4 mana for it. But in later stages, especially for control decks, I think you can look way deeper, like 7, 8 cards, and pick 2 out of them. And then it feels more like Dig Through Time.
Yeah, I can see this. You want draw go to happen.
Exactly. Like in the old days with the slow meta shifts.
I think the slow meta shifts are long gone, and we have to appreciate what we have now. But yeah, speaking of meta shifts, do you expect a lot of meta shifts this weekend?
Yeah. I actually looked a little bit on, what people qualified with for the ELM, because I wanted to make kind of an assumption what I expect when I'm playing myself. And it looks for sure different than the online meta game. What surprised me the most was that there's much more, dirty decks that people brought and used to qualify. Something like Krell Control, Abandonado versions, for example, also. Breakfast, not too much. Lands a little bit more depth to a certain extent, actually. So it's far. And goblins, one random goblin deck, for example, that I remember off the top of my head. Yeah, it's super more wider in sense. Of course, the biggest share was still Reanimator and Tempo, and Stompy not so much. But other than that, lands a little bit. You basically have the whole mix. decks. And I expect somehow that, it will be a little bit more streamlined to be more representative than for an online metagame. But people are more bound to their decks in real life, so they kind of stick to what they like to play also to a certain extent. And I could see that this is in between the qualifying metagame and the online metagame right now. I'm taking the showcase, for example, as the most recent development. Because the qualifying season is also 1 year. You have and this is not really accurate anymore. So it's tough to really make a good calculated guess based on that. But I'm sticking to my guts and saying, hey, it's mostly online metagame, and I expect a little bit more control, a little bit more green sound zenith, and hedge a little bit to that side, and then hope to get lucky.
Yeah, because you mentioned Nadu decks.
Yeah.
Do you think there will be a lot more because of the very, I don't want to say shitty play patterns, but the shitty play patterns on Modo?
Of Band Nadu?
Of Nadu decks in particular, because they aren't really playable online.
Yeah.
Because you have to make so many clicks. In paper you can simply shortcut it, and it works a lot better.
Yeah.
So I think maybe
I could see 5 or 6 people bringing it, like 5 to 10% maybe. 10 might be a little bit lower, but more than online for sure. Yeah, I think so, because it's also a nice deck in paper that the people like to play. I could see it. Yeah, sure.
So on Friday you have a very, very special occasion.
Yeah.
Let's say it like that way. How good are you at Limited?
What I'm looking more forward to is actually the beers. There's a chaos draft with Belgian beers. I have no idea about Limited. I have to be really honest. I'm super bad.
When was the last time you played Limited?
Does the mini cube of Kai count?
No.
So have you played? Because it's also kind of drafting and picking. The last time we Limited, it must be some pre-release actually, but years ago I played. Really, really bad. I'm super bad.
But the only thing that you have to remember is bread.
Bread.
Yeah, bread.
Bombs, remover. What was the evasion? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I only know bread. And it's bombs and removal, and then I just shove everything in.
That's the problem. I also know bombs and removal, and then I don't know
bombs removal. Yes, it's the only. I mean, it's chaos draft, so there's a lot of chaos happening. But as I said, the main event of the chaos draft is the beer to test.
Yeah.
And one thing that I want to really highlight here is, if you have an eternal event and you want a premier sponsor, contact your local breweries, because this Eternal Mania is sponsored by Duval, a Belgian beer company, and it's so amazing.
To be honest, that's such an awesome idea that we will do this certainly for the next Austrian Legacy Masters, that we have to contact our local brewery. Maybe we can, make a deal. Would be awesome.
Actually, yeah. This is a nice warm-up event that I'm looking forward to.
And I think, I personally think it's great that you have on Friday the beer draft and on Saturday the last chance European Legacy Masters qualifier, which is basically the main event of the weekend.
Yeah, I think it's around 200 players or above 200 players for the main event. So really, really exciting to have the newest addition to the big legacy tournaments in Europe, having a good representation at the first tournament there also.
Yeah. A big part of it for sure is the ELM.
Yeah.
Because people getting drawn to that. Is it the first time that this happens?
Yeah.
So many? Yeah. Looking forward to that. I think I've been to Belgium now, I think 3 times. This is now my 4th time. And I'm always impressed by the cities. I love the architecture and also the lifestyle. The beers are nice and the people are nice, super nice vibes and atmospheres. I love it. And I only look forward to that. Sure.
Sounds great. And on Sunday, you are qualified for European Legacy Masters. Yeah, what are your goals? What are your aspirations?
I wanna try. Really, of course, I want to try hard as much as I can. So far, I know my deck very well, I would say. I have not play tested all. I didn't find time. Obviously, balance between private life and Magic is an issue. But I don't know each and every matchup. But I know the most common ones and how I should play in this matchup. And then I try to play by play, make the best move, and the rest is a little bit out of my hands. I need to get lucky. I need to face, of course. I'm expecting, of course, very strong opponents to face, but also pick my chances and pick my spots to get myself into the top 8. This would be very nice, actually.
We just hope that you are doing this. The thing is, as we're recording this, we are pre-ELM, and when the episode airs, we will be post-ELM. So if all this talk gets cut out, but then during the editing, it wasn't the greatest weekend for him.
Yeah, but maybe Daniel, you have the shot now to be our best representative that we had on the ELM since the inception. Do you actually know who the best performance was from an Austrian at the ELM?
It must be Niklas, right?
Oh, Niklas.
From an Austrian.
From a real Austrian.
Yeah.
At the ELM.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we had Marcus, we had Tobias, right?
Tobias, yeah.
And then we had now
Danny.
Danny?
Yeah, Danny.
Then the Goblet player, right? From Graz.
This was Danny, yeah.
And then there was what else was? Was it Coiny?
No. I mean, he was
Fabian also, I'm pretty sure.
Fabian was also there.
I have no idea, actually.
Who was Jonas? Do you know which place he ended up?
No.
9th.
That's good.
But that's actually pretty
It's really nice that you took him. He actually got drawn. I had to draw himself out of the top 8.
He drew himself.
If you remember back in the days, he was facing a rather good matchup, but he needed to win pre-board. He had a really, really bad game 1, and then he drew with his opponent to increase if everything happens to some scenario. He would have still been 8th, but he drew himself then out of top 8.
Oh, that hurts.
This was the best showing of an Austrian, so maybe our team this year in the form of you, Daniel, then we have Felix Stenitzer.
Yeah, Felix is good. I'm counting. I'm rooting for Felix for sure also.
And then we have actually
Louis Fawcett.
Yes,
Louis Fawcett.
Yeah. Which is basically an American living in Austria. So
but he lives there quite some time.
It's a Grazer.
He's not from Graz.
He's now Austrian.
Yeah,
like we adopted Niklas.
Yeah. He's honorable. Also, he qualified in Vienna, so of course.
I mean,
Niklas is simply
an Austrian. Yeah,
he already
annexed.
Yes, for the 3rd time, I think now at the ELM, and the only time he didn't play on the ELM when he didn't qualify in Austria.
Yeah, I think he always won it in Vienna.
Yeah. It's the 3rd time his event in Vienna. It's crazy. Always the first one that we had.
Yeah, this is where I remember that. Yeah. He played České Wizards last time.
And
one of that.
And I'm pretty sure he made an post on Twitter that he will play on the Legacy Mini event on Saturday. The new card Quantum Riddler with Failure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Then we will know it, of course, but
if it's good or not.
If it's good or not, then
Daniel will quickly shove aside his steady blue-black template deck and obviously, going in for the new shit.
Yeah.
Like he always do. This is what I'm for sure will do.
I'm playing just Quantum Riddler. For the ELM must be the best thing. But Failure and Quantum Riddler sounds super fun.
Yeah, because then you can just warp it and then bounce it, and then the warp delay trigger is gone. Yeah, it's a modern deck. You have to play, you have to play blue, white, and red. So basically Jeskai, so you can play your Fables, because then you can just discard 2 cards down to 1, draw 3 cards up to 4.
Sounds fun, to be honest, but not very viable.
No, not legacy-wise. But yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to ELM. Maybe I get some time.
There's a live stream, right? So you can tune in actually.
Yeah.
We'll do this. I think the guys from Bazaar of Boxes are doing the commentary.
Yeah. It's a team of 5 people that are doing basically the whole show. Really looking forward how they do the production of the live streaming. There should be also a live stream from them on Saturday, if I remember correctly. Yeah, pretty much excited for the whole weekend. And maybe we get a live stream of the beer draft.
I would be way more excited of having Daniel in top 8 on the live stream, to be honest.
In the beer draft.
In the beer draft, yes. Of course. Yeah.
I think if you win the draft, you get like paid out in beers, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so. Perfect. On nutrition for the whole weekend.
This would be Iggy's event to win.